want to say something. A lot of people like want to talk about when I say, oh, we on different side of the streets and things like that. It's true. Like me and Terence Crawford on different side of the streets. He's just signed with ESPN. I don't fight for ESPN. I fight for Showtime or Fox. You know what I'm saying? So he's on this side of the street. Al Heyman, you know what I'm saying? And then like Bo Mac said, oh, I guarantee EJ living paycheck to paycheck. I'm definitely not living paycheck to paycheck. I guarantee you, if we check our tax reports at the end of the year, I guarantee I make more than him. He got 3 coaches. We don't know who the head coach is. So I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a way better fighter than Terence Crawford. Who has he fought? The only name fight you fight is York's Game Boy, the guy that he fought. I fought Lamar Peterson, Chris Algieri, Kell Brook. I mean, and how many fights he got? 30-some fights. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's a great fighter, things like that. But you can't put him.
We are going to watch and CSI and go through every bit of this informative post-fight rant. It wasn't his fight. Even my man Nip's getting hard. Pause, no homo. He was really getting into it. Some say he drunk. Some say he did what he was supposed to do and say, hey, listen, I'm going to keep that shit 100 with you guys. I like it nonetheless. So every time he gets to a key point or key bit of information, we're going to talk about it. So, for example, he's talked about the resumes. Let's go look at the resumes and talk. Let's just jump right into things. 24-0 with 21 KOs, Errol Spence, the Truth Jr. 28 years old. He'll be 29 in January. He's approaching the prime of his career. Mandatory contender back in June, out of the way against Carlos Ocampo, so he don't have to have another mandatory until next June. He's going to be fighting Mikey Garcia. That fight is there. It's happening. He's acknowledged it. Sean Porter knows it. Keith, they know it. It's happening. Before that, Lamont Peterson, Kell Brook, very big fight when Kell Brook had came down from 160 back to 147 to defend his title. A lot of people thought he would drop it. Big money fight for Errol Spence over in the UK. He won, breaking Kell Brook's eye socket, even though he had some issues earlier in the fight. Nonetheless, he won. Kell Brook, by the way, is up there along the size of Errol Spence. Both of those guys can comfortably fight at 160 pounds one day. So let me explain what I mean. Terence Crawford is on the smaller end of 147-pound fighters, to where guys like Errol Spence and Kell Brook are on the big side, meaning I feel that Errol Spence can compete for a long period at 154 pounds one day. And I feel that he can even touch and compete at 160 pounds one day, even though he'll be a smaller 160 pounder like a Canelo compared to a Golovkin, who can fight at 175, possibly 168, possibly 175 one day. So Terence Crawford, I feel, being a 135-pound champion, 40-pound champion, and now 147-pound champion. I just feel that 147 may be the cap for him. Maybe he can touch 154 and compete at some level, but I think that 147 is the sweet spot for him. So you have to factor in, looking at the resume, how do you factor in the accomplishments? It takes a lot to become a unified champion, and let alone an undisputed champion, capturing all 4 belts in the sanctioning body. So that right there alone, you can't bullshit with that. Now, when you look at the consistency of names versus the names, like, for example, let's really look at it. Lamont Peterson was on a long layoff. Despite that, Lamont Peterson was still a good name, but not really a test for Errol Spence going in. Many thought that Errol Spence would destroy him, which he did. The Kell Brook fight, very, very big fight, but we know that Kell Brook, even to this day, trying to fight Amir Khan, has extreme issues making 147 pounds. Even rumors that he can't even make 154 or struggling to make 154. Leonard Bundu. This was on national television. About 6 million people or so watched this. This fight came on after Team USA basketball won the gold. Chris Algieri, still not out the cage as of yet. Well, he's coming back. Hopefully, that man gets out of that damn cage. But very good name, but still, nonetheless, no disrespect to Chris Algieri. Chris Algieri can't deal with a style like a Sean Porter or a Errol Spence. Chris Van Herden, Phil LaGreco, who Khan knocked out, Samuel Vargas, who almost knocked out Khan, even though Khan won, and then not much there. This is the time when he was on those Golden Boy on Fox Sports and BBC on Fox Sports 1 cards, working his way up, beating up Floyd and sparring, rumored, alleged, Floyd getting vampire facials and knocking Adrian Broner out and sparring his homie, so let's move on.
To me, like the guy he just fought for the undisputed welterweight, lightweight champ,
Oh, and I'm leaving the chat up for a reason. Every now and then, take a gander.
Welterweight champion of the world, Regis Prograis stopped him later than he did. You know what I'm saying? So you got to add that all into conclusion to who you say the top welterweight. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff is smoke and mirrors. That's what Bob Errol do. Bob Errol do a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors with him, and that's how it is with Terence Crawford.
Hold up. Let me do something for you guys. This will help you. This will help better put things in perspective. I'll do it this way. Give me a couple seconds. Don't worry. This is going to benefit. Screen capture. Don't worry, give me a minute. Hang in there. Hang in there. All right, put this up here. Okay. Hold on. Okay, we good. Oh, wait, what? I gotta find my mouse cruiser. There we go.
One of y'all name me a guy he fought. That was top guy. Name me a top guy he fought that's better than Chris Algieri. Nah, that's better than Chris Algieri. Name me one guy. Felix Diaz. So you think I think Chris Algieri beat Felix Diaz. He beat the Russian kid. Adongo just got knocked out by Regis Prograis later than he did Terence Crawford. So name somebody else. Victor Foster? Victor Foster, who he beat? Matisse? Matisse, when he showed, when he get hit back, he folded. When Pacquiao hit him back, he folded. Easy. Undisputed at 140 with his smoke and mirrors. Jeff Horn. I thought Manny Pacquiao beat him. And I thought Manny Pacquiao beat him again. Jeff Horn, who had Jeff Horn beat? Who?
Ooh, he kind of good today.
Who had Jeff Horn beat? Name somebody Jeff Horn beat. Who?
Yeah, let's go look at it.
Like I said.
Let's go look at it. Let's go look at it for you guys. That was when he was in full rant mode. Jeff Horn fighting Anthony Mundine, no. This is Jeff Horn's resume. Now, I don't want y'all thinking that we're taking sides or anything like that. We're just reporting on what Errol Spence was talking about. Because Terence Crawford is the fucking man. And Errol Spence is the fucking man. And it is the biggest fight of the division, in my opinion. And I understand, well, later on, he's going to talk about it. Here's Jeff Horn's resume. Now, I feel he should not have beat Pacquiao. He didn't beat Pacquiao, in my opinion. But nonetheless, you know, he got the W.
Yeah, Bob Ram, he's a great promoter. Smoking mirrors, like I said. All the time, smoking mirrors. He hasn't beat anybody, bro. You can't name somebody. Anybody you name, I can argue with that statement every time. It's a good fight. I got a tape of me beating Benavidez in sparring, punishing him. Yeah.
So he's saying that he's got a tape of him, footage of him beating up Jose Benavidez in sparring. And if you don't know, he's fighting Jose Benavidez, meaning Terence Crawford, October the 13th, up in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm looking forward to the fight because even though Jose Benavidez has been inactive and has been fighting on top ring undercard streams, still nonetheless he brings a lot to the table in regards to being a more exciting opponent than Jeff Horn and Julius Ndongo, in my opinion. But I understand what fans are saying. It's like, yeah, where the fuck Jose Benavidez come from, and why is Terence Crawford? I agree to an extent. All right, but let's not forget to look at both sides. Errol Spence fought Ocampo, even though Ocampo was his mandatory, he had to fight him or lose his belt. And he's fighting Mikey Garcia, a smaller fighter, next. And think about that as if, well, think about that in regards to if Errol Spence wins. That means he beat Ocampo and a 135-pound champion in 2 fights. So just factor that in. All right, let's let him do some more ranting.
Him. That's fine. Benavidez is good. When Pacquiao hit him back, he folded. Easy. Undisputed at 140, but it's smoke and mirrors. Jeff Horn. I thought Manny Pacquiao beat him. And I thought Manny Pacquiao beat him again. Jeff Horn. Who had Jeff Horn beat? Who? He kind of good today. Who had Jeff Horn beat? Name somebody Jeff Horn beat. Who?
What? Yeah.
Like I said, Bob Ram, he's a great promoter. Smoke and mirrors, like I said. All the time, smoke and mirrors. He doesn't beat anybody, bro. You can't name somebody. Anybody you name, I can argue with that statement every time. What do you think about the Benavidez fight? It's a good fight. I got a tape of me beating Benavidez in sparring. Punishing him. Yeah. Punish him in sparring. Benavidez is a good fighter, though.
Okay.
Regardless of the street, wouldn't you love to fight Terence Crawford? Wouldn't that be a spectacular fight? Just fantasy. Wouldn't it be great?
Like, it's a big money fight because a lot of people, drinking the Kool-Aid.
Look, there's a lot of streets in boxing right now. There's a lot of streets. But that being said, if the fight gets big enough somewhere down the road, and we're talking about a lot of commas in the numbers, then somewhere down the road they'll find a way to make the fight.
But at the end of the day, I feel like me and Keith Thurman is the fight to make. Like a lot of people bring up Terence Crawford, Keith Thurman been inactive. But when Keith Thurman come back and when he has a great fight, and he, he shows that, what he's been showing in the fights with Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, everybody's gonna be talking about Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these fans and stuff. A lot of these fans and these reporters, they live in the moment. You know what I'm saying? They talking about Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, this and that, but they were just talking about Errol Spence and Keith Thurman. So once he come back and he has a great fight, they were like, what about Errol Spence and Keith Thurman? So
I mean, true, but it's like this. Okay, here's the way, from what I'm gathering, from social media and everything. Fans would want to see Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman is a huge fight, and it's an easier fight to make than Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. Right now, the debate is, which really makes no sense because they're both crazy huge mega platforms, is which platform is bigger, ESPN or Fox versus Showtime. Now, Fox and Showtime, combined is a very big deal, especially where Fox, are having some discussions. Nothing's finalized yet, from my understanding, to be consumed into Disney, which owns ESPN and ABC. So, truth be told, it really doesn't mean shit. That new PBC Fox deal is huge. It's the savior of what a lot of Al Heyman fighters been going through in regards to only fighting one time a year. That shit is going to be in the past. Now, I understand a lot of people don't understand the difference between the PBC fights that were on Fox before versus the PBC fights that are going to be on them going forward in the future. It's different, completely different. And then Showtime promising a bigger boxing budget, and for 2018, it's, the sky's the limit. And that's why you got Errol Spence talking heavy right here, getting his nipples all hard, because he talking some real shit. Because now it's like, yo, like you saying you the best over there, but over here we got all of the best 147-pound fighters. The easy fights for Errol Spence to make are with Sean Porter, Keith Thurman. He can even motherfucking fight Danny Garcia still, even though people right now they're like, but still he's got at least a year, maybe a year and a half fights to make over on that side of the street where he is, to where if you look at, let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is right here. If you look at the rankings for the WBO, when you're a champion, you have to fight somebody ranked in the top 15. Here is his top 15. However, Errol Spence, yes, he has to fight somebody in the top 15 too, but the unifications are also champions. You see what I'm saying? That are under the same stable. So we would see Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia next, for example, and then Errol Spence versus a Sean Porter or Keith Thurman after that. Or, they can milk it some more. Let's say, for example, right, if it does go, okay, let's say worst case scenario, it doesn't happen this year, but they do it for January. They do Garcia Spence on Showtime pay-per-view in January. Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence. Then in May or June, Errol Spence returns and fights. Who is he going to fight? Because Sean Porter's going to return in about March or April or so. Like right now, them two are off of the timeline, unless Sean Porter doesn't fight again until June or so, or May. And Sean Porter and his team are already talking about, meaning Kenny Porter, that they're not. It's likely not going to be Errol Spence for their next fight. So if you really, really, really look at it, we may not see Errol Spence, Terence Crawford for, a couple of years, even if that does happen, truth be told. Because there's too much shit that has to happen. And it's going to take Terence Crawford and his side to really keep going to PBC and say, yo, we want this fight. We want to make the networks come together to make this fight. Terence Crawford's running out of opponents. Unless Terence Crawford's side try to bring Loma up to 147 pounds. But right now, everything in this rant, it's about 5 minutes left of it. Everything he's saying, in my opinion, is the truth. And we can sit here and talk about all the deep politics. See, I'm just skimming that froth off the surface. The politics run deeper than that. I'm just really talking about just a little bit of shit. For example, that Manny Pacquiao is now filing a lawsuit against Top Rank and ESPN because he didn't get his Matisse money. Or how about Sean Porter and Kenny Porter doing an interview in a Boxing Voice last night saying that Sean Porter's a free agent. But wait a minute, all Al Heyman fighters are free agent. So technically, what does that mean? Right? You got Yordenis Ugas, who was showcased on Showtime to be a future contender for Danny Garcia or Sean Porter. And guess what? It's looking like we may see Sean Porter versus Ugas next to get that mandatory out of the way. Then you got Andre Berto, who's still in the mix, who was at the fight last night. So let's finish listening to this.
There are a lot of great fights that could be made easier right now because they're within the sphere that we're operating in. And Keith Thurman, if he didn't injure his hand again, would have been back in the ring already this fall. Unfortunately, he's had a real rough turn of luck, and he injured his hand again. But got to remember, Keith Thurman beat both of those guys that were in the ring tonight.
Definitely. And like I said, Terence Crawford on the wrong side of the street. It's me. It's Danny Garcia. We got Sean Porter. We got Keith Thurman. We got Ugas. We got a lot of fighters over here. Who he has? If he was an A-level fighter, Bob Ray would have been gave him the fight with Manny Pacquiao, but he gave it to Jeff Horn. Why is that? It doesn't matter if Pacquiao didn't win. That's his promoter. Why didn't he give it to him? That's the top guy. Top guy is Terence Crawford. So why didn't he give him that fight and he gave him to Jeff Horn? And that's supposed to be your dude. Catch his Bob. It's all facts. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. So I mean, like I said, he's on the wrong side of the street. That's why he's calling out. Who's he calling out? Who's he calling out? All Heyman guys, right? All right. How you gonna get that fight when he just signed with ESPN? I'm not going to ESPN at all. I'm not going to ESPN at all. Cause the big money fights and the fights that is really gonna get made and the fights I'm really gonna make is with Showtime and Fox Sports. And Fox. That's the fights I'm gonna make. He's talking about, I got $3 million guaranteed. All right. You see 1.5 on paper, right? That's cool.
Now, let's pause right there and talk about that. That right there has been known about our Heyman fighters for a long time. Unfortunately, there's not, really, like the fighters can't talk about it. There's confidentiality agreements. But what you see on paper in regards to our Heyman fighters, when you see, okay, well, the Nevada State Athletic Commission is saying that he only made this much. Our Heyman fighters are paid in like a contract type deal, where they are premier boxing champion fighters. Like they're under that company. And to best describe it is, I'm not saying this is true. I'm just throwing out arbitrary numbers. They would, let's say, for example, you've heard a guy like Adrian Broner say, I make more than $5 million a year. Floyd Mayweather signed me to $50 million. That was we don't believe that. But nonetheless, a guy like Adrian Broner would be, if you do it on an average, would be making something like $2-3 million a fight. Some shit, maybe 4 or 5, depending. Because of whatever contract he's under. They'll say, okay, all right, AB, we'll give you $20 million for 3 years. Some old shit like that. I don't want to even continue to talk about it because we're talking about numbers that we don't know of. But if you get what I'm saying, like, follow what he's saying. And this has been known for some time, even when there was talks of Golden Boy that he confirmed trying to get him to fight Cotto on pay-per-view, which if he would have took, man. So, for example, there's been talks that he made something like $5-6 million to fight Lamont Peterson, some shit like that, meaning Errol Spence. Just pay attention to what he's saying. I'm gonna let this play through for a nice little bit before we stop it again and talk.
That's the top guy. Top guy is Terence Crawford. So why didn't he give him that fight and he gave him to Jeff Horn? And that's
My
supposed
bad.
to be your dude. Catch his Bob. It's all facts. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. So, I mean, like I said, he's on the wrong side of the street. That's why he's calling out. Who's he calling out? Who's he calling out? All Heyman guys, right? All right. How you gonna get that fight when he just signed with ESPN? I'm not going to ESPN at all. I'm not going to ESPN at all. Cause the big money fights and the fights that is really gonna get made and the fights I'm really gonna make is with Showtime and Fox Sports and Fox. That's the fights I'm gonna make. He's talking about, I got $3 million guaranteed. All right. You see 1.5 on paper, right? That's cool.
Man, you're talking too much now.
That's cool.
All right. Errol, thank
That's
you.
cool. Bo Mac can say what he want. That's cool.
Errol, quick question here for you. How much of a prophecy is this? You would like to be the undisputed champion. The guy who can walk anywhere you want, they'll say, that's the guy. Same as Floyd Mayweather was, Sugar Ray Leonard was.
I'm A-side. I'm A-side. Like I said, Terry Crawford got to come across the street. Terence Crawford got to come across the street. He got to leave ESPN and come to Showtime with Fox. Or they got to do something where they both work together and then we both fight. So
They're going to have to work together for them to both fight. Terence Crawford, ESPN is not letting go of Terence Crawford just to go over there to fight. It's not happening. Of course, blame Bob Arum. Yeah, that's the narrative, but it's not happening. If Errol Spence and Terence Crawford were to fight, they have to come together. And in my opinion, Terence Crawford is A-side over Errol Spence because of the undisputed. My opinion, but a lot of people are not going to disagree with that.
I'm not worried about it at all. And I you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm not gonna be scared of Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, great fighter. I like the look. I like the way Terence Crawford fight. Terence Crawford can fight. I respect him a lot. But like I said, he's on the wrong side of the street. And this side of the street because it's politics in boxing. It's politics in boxing. That's the truth of it. It's politics in boxing. Everybody can say, oh, it's not politics and this and that. It shouldn't be politics. It is what it is. It's politics in boxing. I never fought on ESPN. I'm not going to fight on ESPN probably. No disrespect to ESPN. I'm not. I'm with Showtime and Fox. So different side of the streets. He can say he own the block, whatever. You don't own the block. You're not gonna fight on Showtime. You're not gonna fight on Fox. If he is, come over.
Errol, you implied that you and Keith Thurman is a fight to make.
Yeah.
So are you suggesting that Sean Porter is a tune-up fight to get there?
No, Sean Porter not a tune-up fight. Like I said, he's a world-class fighter. He's definitely not a tune-up fight. I'm not gonna disrespect Sean Porter like that at all. Even like that, even with Danny Garcia lost. Danny Garcia is still a world-class fighter. He lost to another world-class fighter. So I'm not gonna disrespect them. That's a big fight to make. And even if I fight Danny or Sean, you know, it's a big fight. They're both world-class opponents. And I congratulate them both for fighting each other and making it easy. And they both fight each other. I'm never gonna disrespect world-class opponents for fighting each other at all. Thank you. I'm out. Peace.
People say he was drunk, but nonetheless, drunk man tells no tales, right? Isn't that how it goes? But, you know, we needed that clarification. He gave us clarification, you know, on, listen, like what has to happen for the fight. You know, we know that he's not going to just go over to ESPN. We know that, why is that doing that? What's up with this chat? We know that he's not going to just go over to to ESPN, and we know that Terence Crawford is not going to just come over to Showtime. So, of course, Terence Crawford and his team know that, and I'm interested to hear what Bob Arum is going to have to say in regards to, well, you know, Terence Crawford had to take care of business against Jose Benavidez. Then he's going to likely have a WBO mandatory. And don't be surprised if the WBO orders maybe a Jesse Vargas and a Terence Crawford to fight. You know, one of these guys is going to be Terence Crawford's mandatory next. He's going to be due. So I'm thinking like this. Terence Crawford is going to fight Jose Benavidez in April, right? Showing April, March, or February. I don't know, February, March, or April. Sean Porter is going to fight Ugas. Likely or Ugas. They're going to go with Ugas. Ugas likely around that time frame as well. Danny Garcia will return and fight Andre Berto, in my opinion. Soon, sometime I guess in January. If it doesn't happen in January, no later than February. But I'm thinking January. We'll see December or January. We'll see Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia. Keith Thurman is returning soon, likely against Jose Zito Lopez. And when you look at the timelines of these fighters, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford is not going to happen in 2019. I don't see it. It's not going to happen in 2019. I don't see it. We're still in 2018. 2020 is a long-ass time away. It is what it is. TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.